In the Rodriguez family, there were two kinds of children, the investments and the disappointments. My sister Elena was the investment. Stanford MBA. Corporate lawyer at a prestigious firm. Married to a surgeon. Living in a penthouse downtown. Designer wardrobe. Luxury car. The daughter my mother introduced first at every gathering. I was Maya. The disappointment. Community college dropout. Still figuring things out. Renting a small apartment. Driving a 10-year-old Honda. The daughter my mother explained away with apologetic smiles. Elena is making partner this year, Mom would announce at family dinners. Maya is working on some projects. The projects were my graphic design business, which generated $180,000 annually. But my mother had stopped asking about my work after I left community college in 2016. In her mind, I'd failed. And failures didn't get to share success stories at dinner parties. Elena embraced her role enthusiastically. She'd moved to San Francisco after Stanford, but she visited Mom twice a year, always with expensive gifts, always with stories about her latest case, always with subtle reminders that she was the successful one. Mom, you should really update your kitchen, she'd say during visits. When I inherit the house, I'm going to do a complete renovation. Modern appliances, marble countertops, the works. When she inherited. Not if. When. Because in Elena's mind, and frankly, in everyone's mind, the house would obviously go to the successful daughter. Mom's house in San Jose. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,800 square feet. Purchased in 1998 for $420,000. Now worth $2.3 million thanks to the Bay Area real estate boom. Elena had been planning her inheritance since 2015. And I'd been quietly saving my mother from financial ruin since 2020. My mother, Carmen Rodriguez, was house rich and cash poor. The house had appreciated to $2.3 million. But her retirement income was modest, $3,400 monthly from Social Security and a small pension. In 2019, when she was 68, she'd made a critical mistake. She'd refinanced the house to pay for Elena's wedding. $180,000 refinance. New 30-year mortgage at 4.2% interest. Monthly payment, $3,200. She'd done it because Elena had wanted a proper wedding, destination ceremony in Napa, 200 guests, designer dress, celebrity photographer. It's an investment in her future, Mom had told me when I questioned the decision. Elena married well. This wedding establishes her social position. The wedding cost $180,000. Elena and her surgeon husband didn't contribute a dollar. And suddenly Mom's $3,400 monthly income had to cover a $3,200 mortgage payment. That left $200 for property taxes, insurance, utilities, food, healthcare, and everything else. It was financially impossible. But Mom was too proud to admit she'd made a mistake. Too proud to tell Elena that the investment in her perfect wedding had destroyed her mother's financial security. So she struggled. She ate rice and beans most nights. She let the house fall into disrepair. She skipped doctor's appointments because she couldn't afford the co-pays. And she never told anyone. Except me. In July 2020, I stopped by Mom's house unannounced. I'd been in the neighborhood finishing a design project for a client. I found her sitting at the kitchen table, crying over a stack of bills. Mom. She tried to hide the papers, but I'd already seen them. Past due notices. Final warnings. A foreclosure letter from the bank. It's nothing, she said quickly. Just some paperwork. I picked up the foreclosure notice. You're 3 months behind on the mortgage. It's fine. I'll catch up. How? I asked. Your pension and Social Security barely cover the payment. The truth came spilling out. The refinance for Elena's wedding. The impossible math. The months of juggling bills and falling further behind. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. What could you do? Mom said, her voice bitter. You're barely making it yourself. That stung. But I understood. In her mind, I was the struggling daughter. The one who'd failed to launch. The one who couldn't possibly help. She had no idea that my little design projects generated $15,000 monthly. How much do you need to catch up? I asked. Maya, I can't ask you. You're not asking. I'm offering. How much? She told me. $9,600 for 3 missed payments. Plus $3,200 for the current month. $12,800 total. I wrote her a check that afternoon. This is a loan, Mom insisted. I'll pay you back. Sure, Mom, I agreed. We both knew she wouldn't be able to. That night, I did the math. Mom's mortgage payment, $3,200 monthly. Mom's income, $3,400 monthly. Amount left for everything else, $200. It was unsustainable. The next day, I called her. I have a proposal. Maya, I already owe you. I'll pay your mortgage, I interrupted. Every month. Directly to the bank. Silence. Why would you do that? She finally asked. Because you're my mother, I said simply. Because Elena got a $180,000 wedding and you got a mortgage you can't afford. Because I can help and I want to. I can't accept. You're not accepting charity, I said. You're accepting help from your daughter. The house will still be yours. I'm just making the payments. But Maya, what do you get out of this? Peace of mind knowing my mother isn't going to lose her house. That was partly true. But I also had another motivation I didn't share. I wanted to see if Elena would ever notice. If Mom would ever tell her. If the golden daughter would ever realize that the disappointment was the one keeping everything from collapsing. Mom agreed. Starting August 2020, I paid her mortgage every month. $3,200 transferred from my business account to the bank. Every single month for 4 years. And I told no one that in 2021, Mom's health started declining. Nothing dramatic, just the normal wear of aging. High blood pressure. Arthritis. A minor heart scare that turned out to be nothing serious. But it made her think about mortality. I need to update my estate plan, she told me in March 2021. Make sure everything is in order. What does your current plan say? I asked. The house goes to Elena, Mom said. It's always been the plan. She's the successful one. She can afford to maintain it. The irony was stunning. Elena could afford to maintain the house because I was paying the mortgage. Mom, does Elena know about the mortgage payments? No, Mom admitted. I didn't want her to worry. You mean you didn't want her to know you couldn't afford the house she pressured you to refinance? Mom's face flushed. That's not fair. Isn't it? We sat in silence for a moment. Maya, I want to do something, Mom said finally. Something fair. You've been helping me for almost a year. I want to acknowledge that. You don't need to. Yes, I do, she interrupted. I'm meeting with my estate attorney next week. I want you to come. The following week, I sat in Richard Chen's office, our estate planning attorney who'd handled Mom's documents for 20 years. Carmen wants to make some changes to her estate plan, Mr. Chen said. Specifically regarding the house. He explained what Mom wanted. To transfer the house to a trust with me as the trustee and beneficiary, but to keep the transfer secret until her death. I don't want Elena to know yet, Mom said. It would cause too much conflict. But I want to make sure Maya is protected. She's been taking care of me. She deserves to inherit the house. Are you sure, Mom? I asked. Elena will be furious. Elena got her $180,000 wedding, Mom said firmly. You've paid $38,400 in mortgage payments over the last 12 months. It's only fair. We signed the documents on March 15, 2021. The $2.3 million house transferred to the Rodriguez Family Trust with me as sole trustee and beneficiary. The deed was recorded with the Santa Clara County Recorder's Office on March 18, 2021. Legal. Binding. Recorded. And completely secret from Elena. For the next 3 years, Elena continued planning her inheritance. At Christmas 2021, Mom, I've been looking at contractors for the kitchen renovation. Once the house is mine, I want to modernize everything. At Easter 2022, I'm thinking we should turn the backyard into a Zen garden. Really increase the property value. At Thanksgiving 2022, my architect friend says we could add a second story. Turn it into a $3 million property. Always when the house is mine. Never if. Mom would smile and nod, never mentioning that the house was already legally mine. And I kept paying the mortgage. $3,200 every month. By November 2024, I'd paid $140,800 over 4 years and 3 months. Elena had no idea. She'd visited exactly 11 times in those 4 years, always staying at a hotel because the house doesn't have the amenities I need. She never asked Mom about her finances. Never noticed that the house was maintained better than it had been before. Never wondered how Mom was managing on her modest retirement income. Because Elena assumed everything was fine. And if it wasn't fine, it wasn't her problem, she was too busy being successful. Meanwhile, I visited Mom twice a week. I handled small repairs. I coordinated with a property management company I'd hired to handle bigger issues. I made sure the property taxes were paid. I upgraded the HVAC system. I fixed the roof. I invested another $47,000 in improvements over 4 years. The house that Elena planned to inherit was worth $2.3 million, partly because I'd been maintaining and improving it. And she had no idea. Elena announced she wanted to host Thanksgiving 2024 at Mom's house. "It's time for me to start establishing my presence there," she said on a family video call. "Since I'll be inheriting it eventually." Mom looked uncomfortable but didn't argue. Elena arrived the day before Thanksgiving with her husband David, her 2 children, ages 6 and 4, and enough luggage for a month. "This house really needs work," she announced within 15 minutes of arriving. "Mom, you've let it deteriorate." I bit my tongue. The house was in better condition than it had been in a decade, because I'd been maintaining it. "We'll fix everything once it's officially mine," Elena continued. Thanksgiving Day arrived. The full family gathered. Mom, Elena, David, their kids, me, Aunt Rosa, Uncle Miguel, and several cousins. 16 people crowded around Mom's dining table. Elena stood up after the meal, wine glass in hand. "I want to make an announcement," she said. Everyone fell silent. "As you all know, Mom's been talking about estate planning," Elena began. "And we've decided it's time to make things official." Mom's face went pale. "Elena, this isn't the time." "It's the perfect time," Elena interrupted. "Family is here. Everyone should know the plan." She pulled out a folder. "Mom's signing the $2.3 million house to me today. I've brought all the documents. We're making it official. No more waiting until, well, you know." Aunt Rosa clapped. Uncle Miguel smiled approvingly. Elena turned to me with false sympathy. "I know this might be hard to hear, Maya. But let's be realistic. You're just a renter anyway. You don't have the resources to maintain a property like this. It makes sense for it to go to someone with financial stability." Everyone laughed. The dismissal in that laugh. The casual cruelty. The assumption that I was too much of a failure to deserve anything. I smiled. Tell them who's been paying your mortgage since 2020. Mom's face went pale. The room went silent. "What mortgage?" Elena asked. "The house is paid off." "The house has a $240,000 mortgage," I said calmly. "Mom refinanced in 2019 to pay for your wedding. $180,000 refinance. Monthly payment of $3,200. She couldn't afford it on her retirement income." Elena's face shifted from confident to confused. "That's not, Mom would have told me." "Would she?" I asked. When you were visiting twice a year and staying at hotels. When you were planning your kitchen renovations without asking how Mom was paying her bills." I pulled out 4 years of bank transfers. I'd brought my laptop, anticipating this might come up. I opened it and turned the screen to face the table. A spreadsheet showing 51 months of payments. August 2020, $3,200, Maya Rodriguez to Wells Fargo Mortgage. September 2020, $3,200, Maya Rodriguez to Wells Fargo Mortgage. October 2020, $3,200, Maya Rodriguez to Wells Fargo Mortgage. 51 rows of data. Every single payment documented. "That's $163,200 in mortgage payments," I said. "Plus another $47,000 in property improvements, new roof, HVAC upgrade, plumbing repairs. I've invested $210,200 in this house over 4 years." The room was completely silent. Elena grabbed the laptop, scrolling through the spreadsheet. This can't be right. Maya doesn't have this kind of money. My graphic design business generates $180,000 annually, I said. Has for years. You never asked. But you rent an apartment, Elena said weakly. A 2-bedroom apartment that I own, I corrected. Bought it in 2019 for $485,000 cash. I rent it to myself for tax purposes. Aunt Rosa's mouth had fallen open. Uncle Miguel looked stunned. Then Richard Chen, Mom's estate attorney, stepped forward from where he'd been standing quietly in the doorway. Perhaps this is a good time for me to clarify the legal situation, he said. The estate lawyer added, the property transferred to Ms. Rodriguez via trust in 2021. Mr. Chen set his briefcase on the dining table, opened it, and removed a folder. On March 15, 2021, Carmen Rodriguez established the Rodriguez Family Trust, he said. The house at 742 Willow Street, San Jose, California was transferred to the trust on that date. He laid out the trust documents. Maya Rodriguez is the sole trustee and beneficiary, he continued. The property transferred to her legal ownership on March 18, 2021, when the deed was recorded with the Santa Clara County Recorder's Office. Elena grabbed the documents with shaking hands. This says Maya owns the house. Correct, Mr. Chen confirmed. She has owned it for 3 years and 8 months. My sister's fork dropped. It hit her plate with a sharp clink, then clattered to the floor. No one moved to pick it up. But I'm the successful one, Elena whispered. I'm the one with the career, the education, the financial stability. The financial stability funded by your mother refinancing her house, I interrupted. The education Mom paid for while working 2 jobs. The career you built while Mom struggled to make mortgage payments on a loan she took out to give you a perfect wedding. Elena turned to Mom. You signed the house over to Maya? After everything I've accomplished. After everything Maya's done, Mom corrected, her voice stronger than I'd heard in years. Elena, you got your $180,000 wedding. You got your Stanford education that cost me $120,000. You got your perfect life while I was 3 months away from foreclosure. You were going to lose the house. David, Elena's husband, asked quietly. In 2020, yes, Mom confirmed. Maya saved me. Not just once, every single month for over 4 years. While you were planning renovations and buying designer furniture, Maya was making sure I didn't lose my home. I didn't know you were struggling. Elena protested. You never asked, I said simply. You visited twice a year, stayed at hotels, and talked about what you'd do with the house when it was yours. You never once asked Mom how she was managing. Never offered to help with bills. Never noticed that the house was better maintained than before. Because you were maintaining it, Elena said, the realization dawning. With my inheritance. It was never your inheritance, Mr. Chen corrected. The house transferred to Maya 3 years ago. It's been her property this entire time. Aunt Rosa found her voice. Carmen, why didn't you tell us Elena had the house refinanced for her wedding? Because I thought I could manage, Mom said quietly. And I didn't want Elena to feel guilty. Feel guilty? I asked. Mom, she should feel guilty. She pressured you into a $180,000 wedding refinance and never looked back. Elena's face had gone from pale to red. I didn't pressure anyone. Mom offered. Did she? I asked. Or did you keep talking about what a proper wedding should look like until she felt obligated to provide it? Elena had no answer. David spoke carefully. Elena, we should have contributed to the wedding. We both had good incomes. I didn't know Carmen refinanced her house. Because I didn't tell anyone, Mom said. It was my decision, my pride, my mistake. And my solution, I added. Which Elena never noticed because she was too busy planning what to do with a house she thought she'd inherit. Elena wasn't done fighting. This isn't legal, she said desperately. Mom wasn't in her right mind. She was coerced. Maya must have manipulated her. Mr. Chen pulled out another document. I anticipated this concern. Carmen underwent a full cognitive evaluation in March 2021 before signing the trust documents. Dr. Patricia Wong confirmed full mental capacity. He laid out the medical evaluation. Additionally, I have documented Carmen's stated intentions in my notes from our meetings, Mr. Chen continued. She was clear, decisive, and absolutely competent in her decision-making. But it's not fair. Elena insisted. I'm the successful one. I'm the one who can afford to maintain this property. You can afford to maintain it because I've been paying the mortgage, I said. If I'd stopped making payments at any time in the last 4 years, the house would have gone into foreclosure. There would be nothing for you to inherit. Then I'll contest the trust, Elena said. I'll hire a lawyer. I'll prove that Maya manipulated Mom. On what grounds? Mr. Chen asked. That Maya paid your mother's mortgage for 4 years? That she made property improvements? That she visited twice a week while you visited twice a year? What exactly will you prove, Ms. Rodriguez? Elena opened her mouth and closed it again. Furthermore, Mr. Chen continued, if you contest the trust, Maya has documentation showing that you received $180,000 from Carmen via the refinance in 2019. In a court proceeding, that would be considered an advance on your inheritance. Maya could potentially sue you for unjust enrichment. Unjust enrichment? David asked. Elena received $180,000 that ultimately came from the house's equity, Mr. Chen explained. If she's arguing she deserves part of the house despite that payment, a court might see it differently. Elena sat down heavily. This can't be happening. It already happened, I said. 3 years ago. While you were planning renovations for a house you didn't own. Aunt Rosa spoke carefully. Elena, maybe this is fair. Maya has been taking care of Carmen. You've been busy. Busy being successful. Elena shouted. Busy having a career. Busy raising a family. That's what I was supposed to do. That's what everyone wanted. Everyone wanted you to be successful and kind, Mom said quietly. You only managed one of those things. The words hung in the air. Elena started crying. Not the composed, pretty crying of someone seeking sympathy. Ugly, painful sobs of someone whose entire worldview was collapsing. I thought I was the good daughter, she whispered. I thought I did everything right. You did everything that looked right, I corrected. There's a difference. I looked at Elena crying at Mom's dining table. My sister. The golden daughter. The success story. She'd built a beautiful life, on Mom's sacrifice, on my invisible support, on the assumption that her achievements entitled her to everything. Here's what's going to happen, I said. Everyone turned to look at me. The house is mine. That's legally established and not changing. Mom can continue living here as long as she wants. It's her home, even if I own it. Mom nodded gratefully. However, I continued, the $180,000 you got for your wedding is a debt. Maya, I don't have that kind of money, Elena protested. I don't want the money, I said. I want acknowledgement. You're going to write a check to Mom for $500 monthly for the next 30 years. That's $180,000 paid back over time. 30 years. Elena's voice cracked. I've been paying Mom's mortgage for 51 months, I said. You can pay back the wedding loan Mom took out for you. Think of it as a very generous interest-free payment plan. David nodded slowly. That's more than fair. And second, I said, turning to the rest of the family, everyone in this room needs to understand something. I didn't steal Elena's inheritance. There was no inheritance. There was a house 3 months from foreclosure and a daughter who showed up to fix it while everyone else was busy assuming I was a failure. Aunt Rosa looked ashamed. Uncle Miguel nodded slowly. I have built a successful business, I continued. I own my apartment. I own this house. My net worth is $1.4 million. I did it quietly because I learned early that the Rodriguez family measures success by performance, not substance. Maya, we never meant, Aunt Rosa started. Yes, you did, I interrupted gently. Every time you asked about Elena's promotions and not my business. Every time you celebrated her achievements and ignored mine. Every time you laughed when she called me just a renter. You meant it. The room was silent. I don't need your approval anymore, I said. But I do need your honesty. Stop pretending Elena's success happened in a vacuum. It happened on Mom's back, with my support, and with everyone's willingness to overlook the cost. I gathered my laptop and my documents. Mom, I'll come by Tuesday to discuss the bathroom renovation, I said. We should finally upgrade that ancient plumbing. Thank you, Mija, Mom whispered. I walked to the door, then turned back to Elena. You got a $180,000 wedding, I said. I got a $2.3 million house. Grandma always said life has a way of balancing things out. Elena was still crying. I left her sitting there with the ruins of her assumptions. Elena's payment of $500 monthly began 30 days after Thanksgiving. The first check arrived with a note, I'm sorry. I didn't see you. I didn't respond. Some apologies are too late and too small. But the checks kept coming. Every month. On time. David filed for divorce 4 months later. Not because of the house situation, though that certainly contributed, but because, as he told their mutual friends, I married someone I thought was generous and successful. Turns out she was just successful. Elena moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. She cut back on her luxury spending. She started the long process of rebuilding a life without assuming everything would be handed to her. Mom continued living in the house. I visited twice a week. We had dinner together, worked on small projects, talked about real things. Do you regret giving me the house? I asked her 6 months after Thanksgiving. Not for a second, she said firmly. You earned it. Elena just assumed she deserved it. That's the difference between you two. She's making the payments. I know, Mom said. And that's the first real thing she's earned in years. With the house secured and the drama settled, I focused on growing what I'd built. My graphic design business continued thriving. Annual revenue reached $240,000 by 2025. I hired 2 junior designers. We moved into a small office space. The business became something bigger than just me and a laptop. The apartment I owned appreciated from $485,000 to $580,000. Mom's house appreciated from $2.3 million to $2.6 million. I purchased a second rental property, a small duplex in San Jose for $720,000. Paid 40% down, financed the rest, rented both units for $4,200 monthly combined. My net worth crossed $2 million in 2026. I was 34 years old. And I'd built it all quietly, without the performance, without the announcements, without needing anyone's validation. In 2026, I did something that surprised everyone. I established the Rodriguez Family Education Fund with an initial contribution of $100,000. The fund would provide scholarships to Rodriguez family members, cousins, second cousins, future grandchildren, with one specific requirement. Recipients had to demonstrate care for family, not just academic achievement. They had to submit essays about how they'd helped family members, how they'd shown up, how they'd contributed beyond just succeeding for themselves. You're funding scholarships for the family that dismissed you? My best friend asked, incredulous. I'm funding scholarships for future generations who might learn something our generation didn't, I corrected. That success means nothing if it's built on other people's sacrifices without acknowledgement. The first scholarship went to a cousin's daughter who'd been caring for her grandmother while attending community college. She'd worked part-time, maintained a 3.8 GPA, and visited her grandmother 4 times a week. She got $15,000 toward her education. This is like what you did for Aunt Carmen, she told me when I presented the scholarship. Just showing up and helping. Exactly, I said. That's what family should mean. In November 2026, 3 years after the Thanksgiving confrontation, I received a letter. Elena's handwriting. Bay Area postmark. I almost didn't open it. But curiosity won. Maya, it began. I've been in therapy for 2 years. My therapist finally helped me understand what happened at that Thanksgiving dinner, and what had been happening for years before it. I was performing success instead of being successful. I was collecting achievements like trophies without understanding what they cost, not just to me, but to Mom, to you, to everyone who supported me. I got a $180,000 wedding funded by Mom's refinance. I never asked if she could afford it. I just assumed she wanted to give it to me because that's what mothers do for successful daughters. I assumed I'd inherit the house because I had an MBA and a corporate job. I never asked if you were helping Mom. I never wondered how she was managing on her retirement income. I just assumed. You know what the worst part is? I was so busy being the successful daughter that I forgot to be a daughter at all. I visit Mom every week now. Real visits. We have dinner together. We work on small projects. We talk about her life, not just my achievements. She told me you've been helping her in dozens of ways I never noticed. Handling repairs. Managing finances. Just being present. The $500 monthly payments are my way of paying back the wedding. But more than that, they are my way of finally contributing to Mom's life instead of just taking from it. I don't expect us to be close. I don't deserve that. But I wanted you to know that I finally understand what you understood all along. The house wasn't the prize. Being the person who deserved it was. And I wasn't that person. You were. Elena. I read the letter twice. Then I did something Mom would have been proud of. I wrote back. Elena, I wrote. You're right. You don't deserve closeness, and I'm not offering it. What you did, the years of taking without acknowledging, the wedding funded by Mom's sacrifice, the assumptions about inheritance, those things can't be undone with therapy realizations. But I believe you're finally learning what I learned early. Success without character is just achievement without meaning. You had every advantage. Stanford MBA. High-paying career. The family's complete support and admiration. But you used those advantages to take more instead of give back. I had fewer advantages. Community college dropout in everyone's eyes. Just a renter. The family disappointment. But I used what I had to show up for Mom when she needed it most. The house transferred to me not because I was successful, but because I was present. Present when Mom was crying over foreclosure notices. Present twice a week for 4 years. Present in ways that didn't come with applause or recognition. You're making the payments. You're visiting Mom weekly. That's good. That's a start. But here's what I need you to understand. Those actions shouldn't require a catastrophic Thanksgiving dinner to motivate them. They should be natural expressions of love and responsibility. The Rodriguez Family Education Fund exists because I want future generations to learn what we learned the hard way, that showing up matters more than showing off. That caring for family is more valuable than career achievements. That success means nothing if it's built on other people's uncredited sacrifices. Keep making the payments. Keep visiting Mom. Keep being the daughter she needed you to be years ago. And maybe, in 5 or 10 years, when those actions have become who you are instead of who you're trying to become, we can have coffee and talk about what we've both learned. Maya. I mailed the letter. I don't know if Elena and I will ever rebuild our relationship. Probably not. Some distances are permanent. But I'd learned the most important lesson from Mom's $2.3 million house. The best inheritance isn't property. It's the character to deserve it before you receive it. It's been 4 years since that Thanksgiving dinner where Elena announced she was inheriting the house. Mom still lives in the house, her house, even though I own it. She's 73 now, healthy, and finally secure financially. The mortgage will be paid off in 2047, but I could pay it off tomorrow if I wanted to. I keep making payments because the discipline of it matters. Elena has made 48 payments of $500. She has never missed one. She visits Mom every Tuesday evening. They cook dinner together. My graphic design business generates $310,000 annually. My real estate portfolio is worth $3.4 million. My net worth is $2.8 million. I'm 35 years old. Every Sunday, I have lunch with Mom at her house. The house that would have been foreclosed if I hadn't shown up. The house that Elena assumed would be hers because of her achievements. The garden looks beautiful, Mom said last Sunday, admiring the roses I'd planted 6 months ago. Elena helped, I said. She's been learning about gardening. Mom smiled. She's trying. Trying counts for something, I agreed. We sat on the porch, drinking coffee, watching the neighborhood wake up on a Sunday morning. Do you regret giving me the house? I asked. It's a question I ask periodically, just to be sure. Never, Mom said firmly. You earned it. Not by being successful, by being present. That's the real inheritance, Maya. Knowing the difference between achievement and character. I thought about Elena with her Stanford MBA, working to become the daughter she should have been. I thought about the $210,200 I'd invested in this house over the years. I thought about the 4 years of mortgage payments, the repairs, the visits, the showing up. Grandma used to say that family is about who shows up, I said. Your grandmother was right, Mom replied. Elena's learning that now. But you always knew it. My phone buzzed. A text from Elena, visiting Tuesday as usual. Should I bring dessert? I smiled and replied, Mom loves your flan. See you then. Small steps. Weekly visits. $500 monthly payments. Slowly becoming the person she should have been. But I'd learned the most important lesson from the house Elena thought she'd inherit. The best inheritance isn't what you receive. It's what you prove you deserve before anyone decides to give it to you. And I'd proven that every single month for 4 years while Elena was planning renovations for a house she'd never own. Exactly as it should be.